Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November 6th edition of the Jericho Selectboard meeting. In order to make our meeting more efficient, we are limiting the public comment to the beginning of the meeting, public to be heard section. Select board meetings are in the public, not of the public. There will occasionally be agenda items where we will ask for public comment. Tonight, basically all of them. Tonight we'll be asking for the permitting fees, the TMRI Kickoff, and the budget discussions. So it almost renders that first part pointless, but I said it anyway. Please do not use the chat on Zoom for anything other than technical issues, like you can't get off mute, you can't raise your hand, that type of thing. Otherwise, the chat can be very distracting. And please try to be respectful. So we are now into public comments, and these are for things, in this case, that are not on the agenda. Is there any public to be heard?
Okay.
Whatever you like.
All right. Or you can come up
Who wants to?
if you'd like to come up. Is that
Okay. Who wants to go up?
Oh.
You
don't want to come up?
Here, right? Here, yeah.
Yeah, you're fine there, whatever. All right, I'll stand up here. So I sent some images, to.
I know your name, but can you state your name for the record?
Sure, my name's Jeff Guyette and, Jericho resident, live on Lafayette Drive. So we, shared a link of some pictures that, the work that had recently been done, on Lafayette Drive. So after a lot of back and forth over the summer and actually the last couple of years of notifying the road had been, the street had been degrading. We were notified by the town that the work was going to get done. It was supposed to happen at the beginning of July. It just barely happened about 3/4 of the way through October. And so the work was completed. Residents on the street, we all know, so like it felt a little rushed. And there was pretty large sections on the edge of the road where it was pretty steep. And we're told that the Pike, or I'm not sure who the road work was being done by, they were going to come back in and put some fill back in.
Truck was.
Okay, thank you. And so they came back in and they did put fill back in, but it's pretty terrible. There's large swaths where it's probably 2-3 feet onto people's driveway, onto their lawns and everything. So it's pretty torn up. It's soft kind of gravel fill. There's a lot of concern and most of the residents weren't able to join us tonight, but a lot of concern about the runoff already that we've seen from rain, pulling up on people's driveways where it never previously did. Leah Main asked me to make sure to mention that, where her home is on the corner, is probably going to get pretty torn up by the plow over the winter. And I share that concern. There's a lot of sections of the road I think that are going to be torn up. And one section on the steeper downhill side of Lafayette Drive. Yeah, thank you. There was a large section of that portion of the road had continued to be eroded over the last several years. A lot of washout takes place there. And we were under the impression that was going to be resolved by the town. They're probably going to put in some larger crushed gravel or something there, along with the fact that the culvert was put in on that lower section. And it wasn't, and it hasn't been addressed. And so as we look at that, there's a lot of concern that we're just going to see erosion take place there. And the very nice paving work that was done, it's just going to end up, starting to cave in. So there's a lot of pictures there, try to make sure we capture a lot. And also the driveways, the aprons that we were told, where the paving crew was going to put in a really nice apron. So there wouldn't, several of the people's driveways for along the houses, there was a 3-4 inch, gap, a bump up from their driveway. The people then grabbed some of the fill that was put here and just filled it in themselves. It wasn't really taken care of. So there was a lot of discontent over the overall quality of the work that was done, and it doesn't look particularly great right now. The lines on the road aren't straight, and and as you can see from these pictures, the overall work that was done, it feels kind of rushed and sloppy. So,
Thank you.
Yeah,
For your
thank you.
comments.
Okay.
To clarify,
If you don't mind, you can use the arrow, just go to the side of the screen. Right there.
Oh,
Just click
okay,
it.
perfect.
I
Thank
think
you.
I think it will cycle through the.
Okay,
pictures.
yeah, good,
Yeah,
perfect.
There you go. And you can see some pretty large segments, and some of these I took videos. Actually, most of these are live photos, so they may all load as short vid.
So that's an example of a neighbor filling in
Yeah.
a gap.
Exactly. This is just across the street from me. Sean Clute and Pauline, can't remember her last name. There was a very large lip from the road to their driveway. They were going up over that, and they're like, yeah, that's not great. So they had to, fill back in a lot of areas.
And some still have it.
Right, some still have it. Yeah.
Ours was
We
paved
don't see
driveway
anything but the,
for 30 Lafayette, first house on top of Little Hill, and
You might not be sharing your screen. I think she said she's not seeing anything. That's what I heard.
we don't
Yeah,
see
I-
anything except the directory. We don't see any
Yeah,
picture.
sharing the list of pictures, but not
Just sharing the window.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it for this, because it's not an agenda item. Two questions. The piece lower where you said you were led to believe that there's gonna be some gravel work. Can you explain just briefly how did you come to that understanding? Did someone from the town staff tell you that?
And it may be just an interpretation on my part. I talked to Linda, and I'm not sure if Linda's here.
No,
She's not.
And I had a conversation with her, and I mentioned the fact that like we were, she said there was gonna be a culvert put in at the bottom, which was great. I was like, well, the rest of that road on the side is pretty washed out. And we were like, is the plan to do anything about that when they do the road? And the answer was yes, I think so.
Thank you.
So there may be a misunderstanding of that, or a breakdown of that communication, what was being planned, but so that was my interpretation from that conversation.
Okay, and again, it's not an agenda item, but so that we can be prepared for when you get an agenda item, what's the ask?
driveways need to be fixed.
Fix
Like,
the driveway.
I did say the town was gonna come in for people who have the dirt driveways, because this is gonna be an issue for my neighbor across the road. It just cut off, like drop.
Yeah,
Because they're gonna come in and put gravel on everybody's driveway.
yeah, I remember my parents when they paved Barlow Farm for like a week.
So, in our circumstance, we have
Yeah.
a paved driveway,
On 30 and left.
and now it just barely misses our bumper, because they didn't go far enough with the grade, so you just,
Okay,
Step down. Yeah,
And
because they raised it so high.
What
that-
happened is, yeah, they crushed it. They laid a tire on top of it. My driveway used to be, you just drove flat. Now, my Highlander SUV has a 10-inch clearance. I've got a 2-inch when I back out of there. 2-inch, it's like.
So if it's a car, they're not gonna be able to get.
And that's an empty. If I have six passengers in there, it's gonna scrape.
So I think that the
If we ever-
driveway is and better grading and better aprons on the driveway is the one thing. And then a review of what that side on the downhill side looks like, where it's the gully. I think in the next couple of years, there's a high degree of likelihood that we're gonna see a lot of washout down through there, and it's gonna potentially undercut that road.
Okay. So we'll get you an agenda item so that we can respond a little better and hopefully better informed. Maybe it'll give us a chance to do a little research with our road foreman who's off this week.
Okay.
If they take a trip down that road, it'd be nice
Right.
for them to physically see it and not just look at a drive, but actually get out and, because from looking, it looks great, but
When
it's
you,
just the drop
right,
offs.
when you back out,
Yeah.
if the apron should have been like 4 or 5 feet longer instead of a foot, then you would gradually, when you drive out, the
Taper
car
off.
would go. But no, you're in the dip and it's.
Do you know roughly how long the stretch of road is, like a quarter mile, half mile?
Oh, the whole loop,
Lafayette.
Oh, it's that whole area.
probably
That whole
a
area.
That, the
third,
whole drive is what they paved, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
probably a third of a mile if we think about the whole, the U shape, so.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have your email, so I can just shoot you just.
Other public to be heard about things that are not on the agenda for the evening? Online or in person? Okay, that ends public to be heard. The next on the agenda is a discussion of the ballot item requested for the January 2026 on Jericho potable water infrastructure of. Come on up, Bob. Thanks for coming in. We stayed the whole meeting.
Yeah, a lot of action, a lot of good stuff.
All right, budget stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. Sorry, rinse and repeat here. You gotta bear with me. I'd just like to, if I could, just read this, the proposal, if I could, and then go forward from there. Okay, so, my name is Robert Bob DeVos, and I live on Mile of White Road. Our Jericho Heights Water Co-op consists of 16 homes on Ayers Drive and Mile of White Road. We are a neighborhood of modest incomes and retired year-long residents. In brief, we are facing several state mandates to our water system that could be financially manageable or a financial nightmare. This involves a state inspection of our aging system, involving engineering costs even prior to the inspection that could result in all or most of our aging potable water system to be replaced, if not immediately, then possibly phased in over the next few years or less. The Jericho Heights Water Co-op has faced issues previously, and we are financially responsible. In one incidence, a well failure and paying back a $50,000 low interest loan ahead of schedule. We respectfully ask that the Jericho Selectboard to help us in doing one or both of the following. One, that the Jericho Selectboard approve a budget line item for the amount of $20,000 each budget year as a quote, residential and neighborhood emergency infrastructure fund that would only be used and divided among qualified individual and water co-op entities that have a proven extreme financial hardship. Strict oversight and qualifying guidelines would apply. This would be in the form of grants or below to 0% interest loans. A maximum amount of $5,000 per year per request to any one applicant. Any money left in the budget beyond that, it would transfer to the next year's budget with a maximum being $20,000 each budget year. That the Jericho board place on the January 2026 ballot the same request, budget language modified, and bypass the signatures required to place on the ballot, as the Jericho Select Board has the power to do so. We ask for a written response to this request in a timely manner, so any action will meet any deadline to be added to the next town budget and be on the ballot. With the Jericho Select Board just approving on October 16, 2025, to spend $92,000 for more comprehensive studies to possibly advance work for new septic infrastructure for a possible future Riverside area housing development. The Jericho Select Board needs to also address infrastructure needs that other long-standing residential homes and neighborhoods face with septic and or potable water issues. As longtime neighbors and as homeowners and as taxpayers of Jericho, we are not asking for a handout, just a helping hand. Our Jericho Heights Water Co-op will continue to reach out to the state of Vermont for assistance as well. And again, we please ask for a timely response to these requests. Thank you. So,
let's open up to the public first. Any comments from the public who would like to weigh in, and then I'll ask the select board the same question. Yeah.
I'm not particularly familiar exactly with Bob other than what he's posted and seen, but I think this gives rise to the perpetual issues pertaining to infrastructure in town. And I've seen and heard some things that does not appear to indicate that people understand the adverse effects on the community when the 16 people literally are suffering from the absence of a piece of critical infrastructure that affects the grand list first, because those properties suffering from this ailment become very challenged. And the municipality is the source of the lowest cost, longest term funds for resolving infrastructure types of things. And I think the proximity of Milo White to the new garage could yield a combination study, because the garage is in the plume of an unlined landfill and contaminated by decades of deteriorating salt product that's stored on the property. So identifying aquifers that could serve that area and serve the town could qualify for grants and stuff that the private individuals can't have. So to go drill a well, I just got a price, 16 grand, estimated. And that doesn't mean that you're gonna get potable water. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to gain anything that you don't already have. So a hydrological study on behalf of the town, looking at its own needs, because I've heard many times from the people that work for the town that the water in the proximity to the existing garage is in fact not potable. So
We had it tested and it was potable. It tested good, it passed.
okay, I wasn't the one who said it, but it was at the walkthrough. of the
I just happened to be involved in the thing, and we tested our well that exists there, and it is good.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yep.
So now you can pipe it across to Milo White and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, I think there's a brook in the way, Jim, but I love the,
That's what directional boring is.
yeah. Word is right. Okay, sorry. That was. Comments from the board?
I just have a question. If the town does something like this and there are low interest loans, do you see that the town will be collecting over time the payback through their taxes? That individually, and those people with their will have to pay it back with their tax and on their tax bill. How did you, envision that there would be a payback?
Right, there would be a payback, but that would be determined by the select board. I mean, if you want it through taxes, I'm sure, the neighbors would go for that. If it's an outright loan, that would be payback separate, then, either one would work. The more flexibility, the
Are
better.
you asking how they would pay it back? or-
Yeah, I was gonna say,
How they
would act.
How would they act?
What be in place to get the money back?
But the other question is, if it's done that way for just our community, then that would also apply for the quote Riverside project, that they alone would be paying back any septic or potable issues. I mean,
I think your best chance is to focus on this thing that you're asking for, which was nicely presented and written up. I would.
Right.
I suggest you do it that way.
Okay, so.
Do it however you want, but.
Yeah, we would consider, well, I mean, obviously to lessen the burden, because we do pay for other projects in other parts of the town over the years, pretty generously in our taxes. I would like to see it ideally come from the town, and then, but if it's individual, assessment tax or whatever.
The way you wrote it is that it's a loan.
Loan, no, or.
You specifically say like,
low interest?
very specific criteria, low interest loan and.
Grant.
You also, you did say grant. Well,
Grant.
Oh, we did say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did say.
Yeah.
But I was checking out the
on the
loan.
loan piece.
So, I mean, I understand the board's position. I mean, you're entering into new territory, much like you're entering into other new territory for infrastructure in other parts of the town, whatever, it's, you don't want to be strapped and burdened with, is this thing gonna escalate over time, whatever, I understand that. But at the same time, if you're going, again, if you're going forward on other projects that will be far more expensive and they're exclusive to only a small part of the town, and you deny help to neighbors. I mean, again, we've paid back a $50,000 loan ahead of time. We can,
I think she was just asking how it would be paid back, so.
Right, but I
think you answered.
I think it's important to state that if the select board decides not to do anything, I think it sends a very negative message, whatever, if you're gonna go forward in other parts of the town, but you exclude other parts of the town. That would be, it's a tough pill to swallow if you go that route. I mean, we're looking, 16 homes, engineering study, just guessing thousands. It's not even to do anything. We have a large water sphere for the holding tank that's half underground.
Yeah.
So we've got to pull that out. They've got to examine it. It's built originally in 1965. Guess what? The state's going to say, you got a couple more years or pull it out. And then guess what? It ramps up to what, 60, 70, 80, $90,000, maybe more. And you're talking divided by 16 homes. And many of us are retired. Many of us, there's a few young families, whatever the case may be. But it's a town, in my view, it's a town issue or whatever. You can't neglect part of the town and go forward on another part of the town. So that's, and again, the next question, if anyone would offer to ask it.
Well,
would
I'd
be-
like to go back to the board to see what else,
Okay.
what other comments are from the board, if you don't mind.
No.
I-
Sure.
I just want to clarify, I have a note from the October 2nd meeting that while you are one of the homeowners, you are not on the board.
That's correct, right? Right.
My concern is, I hear you, Bob, and I hear it. I don't see 15 other signatures on this though, and that is my concern.
That's a good question. Right. Okay, so I've approached the board. The board has mixed reviews for reasons I can't explain or whatever. But for me, it's worth it still presenting this. I want this on record, that if the town does not do anything, I just, again, you're getting into new territory, new precedent with infrastructure, be it septic or potable water, but if the town doesn't do anything to offer any assistance, and if state money is limited, so again, the board's split, I'm disappointed, to be honest with you, whatever, so.
Yeah.
Trying to wrap my head around this, so if it's $100,000, that's to replace the 16 homes, it's like $5,600. That doesn't seem horrible. My concern is, we're talking about a municipal wastewater system. And this is an HOA, I assume? You have an HOA that can, I don't know what kind of covenants you have in there about what other homes can be built in that area.
Sorry.
And I do see a distinction between a municipal system and a private HOA. I do really sympathize with the hit that's gonna take, and that there people just have that and play around.
I appreciate your remarks and the sympathy, but it's, it could come to, if I'm trying to stay ahead of the game before we know amounts, and we would only go before you with a set amount, and if it's a maximum that we could get, if it's approved of 5,000. Again, the board's been very generous with speed bumps, things, other issues or whatever. This is infrastructure. This is water. I can't say whatever you say, 100,000 or whatever it's doing. It only comes out to be 5,600 or something. I'm not sure. It looks like a pretty young board here. I don't think many are retired or whatever or something. Are good, but good. Congratulations, both of you. It just, anyway, it should be, I guess the bottom line is either the select board's gonna help or they're not gonna help or whatever, they're just you can say what you may and not do anything, and thanks for coming in, we've listened to you or whatever, but again, this is a town issue. I mean, you know, without infrastructure, there's no plan in Jericho for any town-wide potable water or septic system. You know, and now
Can we go back?
sorry.
Can we go to, go ahead. Sure. I was waiting for you to, okay, say your.
You're right, there's never been a town plan for any municipal, like 30 years ago. David Villeneuve was saying, we need municipal water in the commercial zone, and town was like, nope, not doing that, not doing that. So you're absolutely right, that I think Eric said the last meeting or a couple meetings ago, like, the town, not, no one here, but we got, the select board historically has not really done much in terms of municipal infrastructure. So this is new. The Riverside piece is a new undertaking. For me at least, speaking for myself, it's not gonna be like one and done, like, oh, we did Riverside, now we're done. We can't do everything at once. So that's sort of my response to I know that, I sense that the Riverside thing is tough for you to swallow. Because it's a lot of money and it's a big undertaking and that, you know, and you feel like you're not gonna benefit you at all. The biggest thing for me, Bob, is that the last meeting, or I don't know, whenever you came here before, I said, I really want to hear from your board. Like your board needs to say, we as a group are asking, and I don't know what, I don't need to know what the conflict is, but it's hard for me to get behind this when the people who are asking are really one guy and is saying there's some kind of conflict in the board about even, like, I don't want to say, yeah, we'll do this, and then go to your board, and they're like, wait, you don't want that money, we told them not to do that, or whatever, and I don't know what the situation is, so it's hard for me to, and I like the idea in general of having sort of like I view government as a system, a network to cover people when they get in situations and to support the community, but I have no sense that the water board even wants us to do it. So that's sort of the biggest hiccup for me.
Right, I can't speak for the board or whatever. I wish I could understand the whole dynamic or whatever, but same would go to select board decisions also, not always unanimous or whatever. Again, I know you don't like this part, apples to oranges, but you've put $92,000 by statute, no voter approval, toward a project that's undefined land, undefined what's going to be built, how it's going to be provided septic. And now you have neighbors that could be without water within a matter of several months or whatever, dealing with this issue. Yeah, again, we're not asking for full coverage cost by any means. I mean, $5,000 will probably get an engineer to come out there to look at it or whatever. So, again, it's a mix of families of working families and retired people. I mean, I think 5,600 is.
So my comment where, I hate going last because then they take all the good ones. Amy and Peter kind of covered all the things that I want to say, but I think it goes deeper. Like, I've been on the board, I don't know, four and a half years, something like that.
Yep.
And I feel like the whole time you've been making the same pitch. And one year you came to the town meeting and you asked the select board to hold, maybe, I think you asked for twice a year. I don't know if we did it twice, but we definitely did it at least once. And we said, we're gonna have an agenda item about this and we're gonna invite people and we're gonna warn it. And it was not well represented. So it's not just that we're not.
The attendance, like, wasn't well attended, but
like nobody came, nobody came. And Bob has been raising this issue through Front Porch Forum, through town meetings, through select board meetings. And I think he's doing a good job of raising a legitimate concern. My challenge with it is it's not taking traction. And the only way it takes traction is if we do it. And it almost feels like because we put it out there so much and there was no interest, it feels wrong for us to be like, well, we're doing it anyway because it feels like the right thing to do. And we have to do that sometimes anyway. So that's the part you probably don't want to hear. My other thought is I kind of like the system. It's kind of cool to put 20 grand
Yeah.
And then if we don't use the 20 grand this year, we don't put any next year. And then if we do, it kind of gets like, I don't hate the idea. I think it's a well thought out idea. It's just, it's really hard to move on when you've been so vocal about it. It gets no response. It gets no, and I don't see how it has anything to do with Riverside. If we would have started with Milo White, we said, you know what we're gonna do? We want 100 more houses on Milo White. We're gonna redo their water project. I don't think you would have complained, but you would have probably said, well, it's a little weird that we're only helping people over a mile away. We have to start somewhere in the infrastructure. We
Okay.
have to. And so I see it as two different things. I mean, other than infrastructure, we're way, way, way behind. Agreed.
No, I,
So I don't hate the idea, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't like that how often it's come up and how little traction we got from it.
I like the idea, because it was also talked about, one of our other, it will be in one of our other agenda items, of having an emergency fund for people who.
What are you talking about? Now you got me confused.
No,
TMRI.
that, there is an emergency fund that we could fund that, has limited, for somebody who has an emergency, like, we flood out, like somehow, like
Right.
Plainfield or something
I
like
see
that.
what you did, right?
Like-
They made it a little more broad, like
Right.
maybe not just for
Not
water,
for
but
this,
it's
but,
there for these types of things.
or somebody desperately needs a generator because the power's been out for 2 days and, they need oxygen or something like that.
Yeah,
But it's not, but it obviously has to be very well designed with
managed.
upside and stuff like that, and whether you're granting, whether it's a small loan or depending what it is. But, that has some viability because we know that the federal government is not going to be helping people anymore for quite some time. And it's going to fall back to what a community can do to help other community members. But it would need to be much broader.
so I guess my question would be, it sounds, maybe the decision hasn't been made yet. So if the select board decides, no, we don't want to go forward with it, select board allowed to be put on a ballot item for the people to decide of the town. And if they voted down, they voted down.
We haven't voted.
Oh, no, I know, but
But he's reading the room clearly.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I mean,
well,
I don't know how, if someone were to make a motion, I don't know how I'd vote right now. I just.
no,
don't think that
no,
was-
I'm not asking
Right?
for a vote right now, but if the board decides not to go forward with this, then the other option was for the select board to put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
And so that would draw off the hook, if you will. It's like, we don't approve it for any reason, whatever reasons you want to go with, but we'll let the town voters decide. Is that not fair? Or whatever, I mean, that's all, I gotta ask.
To the board, my opinion on that is I would like signatures because I know, but I hear from Bob and I hear from you, but I think then if you can walk around your community and you can get that 35 signatures or whatever from everyone in your community who this would deal with, then I want to see it on the ballot. That's the democracy I would like to.
If you really want it, you need to do work.
Yeah, that's it.
Or if you
Okay,
already
right.
voted.
Yeah.
It was the will of the board.
Because if
You
there
mean
was
if the water
the
board?
water board, if you were board, you may not all be in agreement, but you had a majority and that board chair signed it.
Right, I would, right, I wish I knew more, whatever, but yes, right.
It
Okay,
doesn't sound like everyone would accept that.
I can't speak for them, I
Yeah.
can't, or whatever,
So
I
it'd be
don't,
like
I
a
wish I knew
personal,
more. No, I would not, right, but yeah, I can only speak.
He has to be ready to leave. And it doesn't sound like they're ready for that.
Particularly because they don't know any of the costing, what's even gonna cost at this moment.
Soon enough, we probably will know, and then we jump another year back or whatever, just trying to get something to work with the town or whatever. That's why trying to be proactive, try to get ahead of it or whatever or something. I mean, if there's something there, it would be a great help. If not, you know, it's not, or whatever. I understand what you're saying, and I pretty much agree with you, but however, when I've gone to other town meetings, I've seen just a handful of hands go up to approve budgetary items. So, you know, I'll be honest, I mean, it's an easy way for the select board to pass. It's like, come back, give us more, which is essentially a no or whatever, you know, unless you go hard for the 35.
Last time, Peter asked you, like, I'd really like to hear from the board, and we didn't. And that makes it challenging.
Okay, but it's the same thing on if you go on the potable water or you go for septic on Riverside, where are the voters? What have you heard from the voters? You folks have approved $92,000 with no voter approval with a statute that could not be named at the time. And, you know, so it goes both ways. I mean, you could approve things in a flash if you want to, or whatever, and if you disagree with this, you disagree.
The key is
But-
actually weigh in on that 92,000 when it goes to bond. And if it gets turned down,
Right, and then
so the public will get to vote on it.
the bond will be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But it's people who,
If it passes.
if it
If it-
passes.
Right, but then you spend all this money, and for us that need water help for $5,000, you know, you're gambling, you know, we have a definite need or whatever. I mean, you know, you can do all the work you want, 92,000, keep putting money in year after year. Now, finally, you know where the site is, you know what's gonna be done, and you're gonna ask for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I went to that one meeting where over a 30-year period, it was in the millions for that Riverside project. As far as going back to the meeting where I asked a couple years ago, every select board member said yes. I don't ever see it ever being warned for the meeting, and I could have missed it easily, so I apologize. But I don't know.
Everything's going, yeah, we can't.
Yeah, I just don't know why the town wouldn't, you know, or a planning commission, you know, get these people in, say, you must come in and talk about water issues. So, you know, everyone knows what's going on or whatever, but
Jim has a question behind you. Had
Sorry.
hand up a little bit.
In an interest to move this along, that there is more than just this single area that has problems. And I've been here for almost 50 years, and I don't see those other problems like potable water. All of the Jericho Center properties are within the plume of underground contamination and the septic fields for the other ones. So if you take a methodology approach that says people who have an issue or concern, one of the reasons why people don't want to talk about this stuff, and they certainly don't want to be in a public meeting, is if they ever go to sell their house and they've made a public statement which indicates that there might be a problem, the marketability of their home. So people like me who don't, although I own property all the way down in the center, I don't get my water from the center and I'm not adversely affected. So if we could have a process in Jericho where an identified concern could be brought forward, because the only way to get to the grants and the only way to get to the municipal financing that's necessary to do things correctly for the long term for everybody is to work through the governance body. And that may be, but I can't imagine if I had a problem with my house that I would like to come and put it on the public record.
That's a really good point.
Exactly what was wrong with my house. I might share it with the assessors when they come by, but.
Right, I haven't been fighting.
I'm just saying that there's a great opportunity here where someone can bring in a subject, and if you do create this revolving fund and the ability, because I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I believe that there was an effort where the town made no financial commitment, but did make the commitment to sign the applications to see whether there was a possibility of qualifying for a grant. And if we just put this down in a little manual that says, any area in town, and as you all know, because I've mentioned it only 40 or 50 times, a TIF district, because if we create a methodology by which we can solve these types of things, without necessarily broadcasting it all over every taxpayer. But I think that the governance capability of the town is uniquely qualified to help any of these institutions. We need fire protection in Jericho Center, we need septic system issues, or we need potable water.
Okay, thanks, Jim. I think we do need, well, what does the board want to do with this item? Do we want to ponder it more? Do we want to talk about, you want to ponder it?
Or is there anything we're voting on? I didn't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
We have a lot of options.
I'd like to talk more, whether in this meeting or another one, about this idea of an emergency fund. Like sort of separating that from Mr. DeVos' task, but that we like that idea.
Yeah.
And we have to come up with other parameters for it. I mean, is it income based? Is it?
Right.
Like, do I get an interest-free loan?
Whatever we want. Yeah, FARs. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's-
no,
Yeah.
it'd have to.
For an EV.
Right, so I mean, we can't say what the parameters are now,
True.
but maybe there's a task force committee, but.
There are AIDS committees.
No.
I don't have like 17 of them.
That's what they got. That's funny, cause as Jim was talking, I kind of landed wherever you were, I'm like, yeah, like I'm fully supportive of us taking $20,000 a year and saying this is available to people who need it. But, and I'm thinking, but we need to figure out this and this and this and this. which all the parameters. But then I was thinking, Bob, back to you, I was like, so now let's say we do this and now Bob comes back in 6 months after town meeting day when this passes, the budget passes and says, I want $5,000 for whatever. I'm gonna have the exact same questions and say, hey, we did the 20 grand, it was a great idea and it's available, but you're not gonna qualify because you can't get your board to make a formal request. Right,
That's a really good point, because like I said, I like the idea of the concept.
Right.
It's.
But the need is, it goes beyond a board, it goes beyond the select board, it goes beyond a board. You know, then you can't work, when you talk about putting parameters on this, if an individual, this applies for individuals with extreme hardship, whatever, and also water entities. So does an individual person have to have a board to say?
And that's, they
Because I just asked.
Money needs to.
Right.
I mean, I think.
Okay, well, thank you for your presentation and your write-up, and
What's the next thing for this?
I don't know, that's what I was trying to get
Well,
at.
can I go back to the 35? I mean, is that 35 signature challenge? It would go on the ballot? Is that something that's
Well,
You want it wait for you, yeah.
if
well, 30.
Well, we keep.
Yeah.
It's like 450.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
which.
yeah.
Right, this-
I'm not sure.
I mean, like
5% of the voters.
like what Laura said, is if you separate Bob's question from this idea, I like the idea.
Right.
Um, but then there's, well, we can keep repeating what Laura said, which is like, who then pulls together how it's structured and how is it paid back and how, like, there's
So
work to be
maybe
done.
that's the next step. Maybe
Work
we
to be
ask,
done.
Paula to direct the staff to do some research, see if there's another town that's got a similar sort of pot of money somewhere that has some parameters that we could just steal without having to reinvent the wheel. Right, I see a staff person that I might put in charge of it, who sounds like he's volunteering.
My point is, if you want to do it, fine. If you want to do that, the low hanging fruit is basically to hire a consultant who does that type of bonding, who puts together that type of bonding information. And you're just gonna reduplicate what's done in other communities. And it's gonna be much quicker than, you don't want me, I don't balance my checkbook, so you don't want me looking, for those.
But I want to spend 20 grand on a consultant to come up with a 20 grand pot of money.
Maybe,
Well, don't hire the $20,000 consultant.
Right, give me one for $500.
but maybe League of Cities and Towns has.
Right.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a
Why don't
way.
you
See if other towns have one, yeah. Because,
Well,
I mean,
this-
people might need I think the generators and things like that as we get more and more outdoor. People may need things like that.
So you're looking for a guarantee, you're looking for something right. I'm gonna tell you a couple things. The only writing you're gonna get is gonna be the minute. Okay? You're not gonna get a guarantee tonight. The
No,
way to get a guarantee to get this on the ballot is through the signatures. You're getting a lot more positive than I thought you'd get tonight, so if I were you, I would personally leave fairly happy. That it sounds like we're gonna come up, we're at least interested in looking into coming up with almost exactly what you're asking for. But I will never give you a guarantee.
okay, no guarantees, I understand.
Once,
But-
if we have this fund, your board may be more likely to say, oh, there's money sitting there that we can get interest free. And so that's something we're interested in.
Yeah.
Like, maybe one thing has to come before the other. The emergency fund is built. Now the board is, oh, well, what do we have left of that?
Again, I can't speak for the board or whatever, so if going forward, okay, understandable, no guarantees or whatever, but if it's gonna go to a study with other comparing municipalities or whatever, I mean, is it just getting shoved off the books until next year or the year after? Is this something that would be done in a timely manner where it could be maybe put on the ballot or decided by the select board this year? I mean, it sounds like.
I was kind of thinking of considering it, in my head, I was considering it for this year's budget, but it's a good idea.
I can tell you
We
that
can wait a whole other
Bradford,
year.
Bradford, Northfield and Wyndham all have
Can't you just?
versions of this. I'm just
I know,
I'm very smart.
If you use
More limits.
I think we really need to have that available.
Yeah, so 3 towns have that.
Are we making a motion to ask?
Yeah.
Paula,
Yeah.
do
Do you need
What
a
is
motion?
that?
We don't need a
Or
vote.
just,
We
no,
don't need
what
a
are the
motion
3
for that.
towns?
Bradford.
Yep.
Northfield. And Wyndham all have, 2 of them are called revolving loan funds. One is called a rehabilitation loan program.
It sounds like a housing, or community.
Okay, so we're gonna put this on the agenda for a later time. We're gonna ask Paula to work with those towns, see what we can get for, see what we can copy from them, see if we like the parameters they set up. And then we can come prepared and have something to vote on, and we can go from there at a later meeting. We do need to move on. Bob, I appreciate your time.
Good, just one other last question. I mean, would this be possibly in time be done for this current ballot, item, period coming up?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. I half apologize. I don't mean to, it's a very frustrating situation or whatever, and I think I'm being polite, but it's, we've lost water before, so it's a very serious issue.
I don't think there's people here that don't sympathize. Like, I've only had my house 5 years, and I've at least $4,000 into water. Like, and that's on an existing well that's got decent water. It's $4,000 in. So I get it. Like, it's not that we don't get it.
No, I appreciate the time. Thank you. I'll disappear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is discussion of permit fees associated with new housing, Mr. Chris Lynch. Thanks for coming in and, taking this to.
So the discussion point, basically, the housing fees with new housing are the impact fees. And there's been voices in town that have said, get rid of the impact fees, you're gonna get housing. I'm not really sure that $2,600 is gonna move the dial in that fashion. I was talking with Paula, and I mentioned to a few of the select board members, if we have a real desire for affordable housing in town and we want that type of housing, then creating incentives to get that type of housing are the key. If we look at zoning regulations, they're the stick. The incentives are the carrots. You make the carrot bigger than the stick. And one way to do that is through is actually really dedicating zoning regulations to specific types of development, i.e. affordable housing. You can create an affordable housing overlay. So if something like that goes into place, then the concept with regards to the impact fees, you still collect the impact fees from the developer, because if you give them the exemption, he's just going to keep them, and it's not going to pass through to the homeowner. And the idea would be is that basically you collect those fees for those areas that are in the overlay, that have the incentives, that are part of that sort of concept or program. And then when somebody goes to buy the house, the town could actually give those fees to the resident for their closing costs. So you're investing into basically the resident coming into your community and they're investing into your community. So it's a really win-win situation in that.
So you collect the impact fee and then you give it to the.
From the developer.
Developer,
Right.
give it to the buyer at closing.
Yeah.
Right, so you're the buyer, you're the developer, we collect the fee from you, Amy goes to buy, basically the town would basically take that impact fee of $2,600 and basically give it to, we give it to Amy for her closing costs, we'd be dedicated towards that.
Okay.
And what ends up happening is it
Have you
basically,
seen something like that?
I've seen similar things like that, yeah, we had an affordable housing financing program when I worked in private development. And we worked closely with the bank and was reducing of closing costs and things along those lines. So it's doable and nobody in the state's doing this. So you guys can, I mean, to me, it's like, let's be bold. If we really want these things, let's commit to doing it. Let's get it here. And we'll take a public social issue that could potentially be addressed by private developers, by the private end, because you're giving them the incentives. And the concept has been floated to a few private developers that I've talked with, and they're like, you know,
Sorry, in that scenario, what would be the incentive to the builder?
density.
You give them density because of
Density.
the overlay, so the overlay
Right.
allows more
Right.
density.
But what you're doing is you're in that overlay, you're sort of saying you need to build houses this size within this parameter and selling for this price range. And if you do those things, you get this benefit with regards to density. So it wouldn't apply to larger homes. I mean, whether it apply, you could have two different types of overlay for, you know, the tag missing middle and affordable. So you could play both those games. But the intent is basically with the fee is to give it back. If you keep if you get rid of the impact fee, I think you need to get rid of it for everybody. And I don't think that's advisable because basically that's used for road improvements. And we've used that and it's key because we have weather events where we have unexpected road issues that we need to deal with. And if you just decide that you're going to get rid of the impact fee for affordable housing, but you're not going to get rid of it for if I want to build my 5,000 square foot house, you're treating people differently. And I think you could potentially open yourself up for liability because the nature of the fee where you're selectively saying, okay, you're doing something we like, we're not going to charge you, you know, where we're going to charge somebody else. So I think you may run into legality, you know, just to get rid of the fee for quote affordable housing or missing middle. I think you need to be more creative and tie it to something. So it was a concept that I was talking with Paula about, and she asked if, because you guys were looking at it, to come here and sort of give you a 30,000 foot view of it.
So in your world, how would we let people know that this is an incentive? Is that a builder driven thing? So, or is that, you know, we need to do some Jericho marketing to say, move to Jericho, you get $3,000 back.
You drive the bus.
Okay.
You drive the bus. You sort of say, we've created this incentive for developers to come here to build these types of housing for these types of prices, because this is what we want. And on top of that, you know, we will give anybody who purchases, we'll give them this back, you know, for their closing costs.
I sent an email to a few folks from the Affordable Housing Committee and Susan Guzzi wrote back to me. She had a really a good reframing of it for me. She said that rather than just lowering fees, to look at using fee reduction to leverage that to get plan modified. She said the example she gave was if any PUD or subdivision or build out includes at least one duplex or multi-household structure, then the fee gets reduced. If a single family includes an ADU, then the fee is reduced. If a development includes regs that define regs defined as small dwelling or affordable and or senior, then the fee gets reduced. If an HOA if an HOA doesn't have any restrictions beyond regular residential uses, then fees are reduced. So rather than just like, oh, we're gonna make it cheaper to build houses here and take away the impact fees, because Chris is right, we need that. I mean, I'm not even sure what the money goes to, honestly, but
Roads.
different question. But So the idea of incentivizing types of buildings, if you have one duplex or one multifamily in a PUD, or you add an ADU to your building, that your fees get reduced. And I like that idea of targeting the fee reduction to different types of decisions that a developer can make.
Well,
But it sounds like Chris is questioning the Senate, well, really complicated with me. But assuming we could do it, it sounds like what Chris is saying is that those fees, if we reduced them, what he's saying is that what Susan is proposing doesn't really work because it doesn't end up reaching the end, like that discount doesn't make it to the cup.
Right.
Can I say something as
Well, let me point out, then I will.
Why do we care if it gets to who it gets to? We want the housing to be, we're trying to incentivize the building of certain types of housing in town. I don't care.
Well, I just think I don't know. I don't know if he thinks that's enough of an incentive to, like, I don't know if that's a big enough deal, like, to get them to,
So
all right, you're gonna knock $1,000 off of a. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Susan hasn't shared that with anybody else.
Yeah,
You know, that's that sort of discussion. I mean, it's interesting in a concept, way and level, and I think you could get some traction. I don't think you can get a lot, because I don't think, if the impact, I think it's for a duplex, it's $4,300 is the impact fee. And you're getting to a figure where it's starting to move the dial a little bit, not a great amount. And so I think, it may chip away here and there a little bit, and it may, the developer is, he'll be happy to have not have to write the check.
Right.
What I'm saying is that basically take it up a notch and actually create an incentive so you're getting the housing and it's a development of that. And so what ends up happening with developers, they basically say, okay, I'm gonna go in, I wanna make 25, 30% return, right, on my investment. So if it costs me 100, I wanna sell for 125, 130. Well, if they come in and they go to do an affordable housing project, they may not be getting their 30%, they may be getting 15%. But if they're able to do 30% more houses because of the density, then they're still getting their 30% or more that they want on their return.
Mhm.
And you're gonna end up getting the housing that you potentially want. I mean, you could have a duplex, right? I mean, I permitted an ADU. I've permitted a few ADUs that are over $1 million. So you wanna reduce the fee on $1 million ADU? Okay, fine. You got an ADU there that it's nice, but it's $1 million ADU. If you want affordable housing where you're gonna be selling stuff for 280, 290, 320, you're gonna be putting young families in, investing in the community, then it's a different model.
Can we go to Frederick now? Sorry, go ahead, Frederick.
Thank you. I'm with the Affordable Housing Committee, and I've gotten the comments from Susan as well. They were forwarded to me by SJ, who couldn't be here tonight. Otherwise, she would be speaking for the Affordable Housing Committee. I really like what Chris was saying about, you need to give an incentive to the developers, first of all, to develop and to build the affordable housing. And permit fees are likely going to be a small part of that. And that's absolutely kind of the way we see it as well. And I don't know if overlays are the way to go or not, but it's totally correct that the main incentive to build affordable housing has to reach the developers. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. The permit fee piece is, I think, a smaller piece, and I also like the idea of somehow passing that down to the ultimate buyer. But again, I think the incentive, the best initial target for that incentive would also be a developer. But I could see this idea of passing that down to the purchaser. I'm not super concerned about there being legal implications of having fees applied differently depending on affordability. This is done in other towns For example, I think it's Heinsberg that just the permit fee is 0 for affordable housing, and it's not 0. It goes by square foot for other housing. So that certainly can be done. Also, I think what Chris was saying at the end about the $1 million ADU, that raises something we've thought about, which is right now the permit fee structure is such that it goes by single family home is one fee, and then multifamily home goes by unit and ends up being more expensive as soon as you get to more than, I think, 1 unit. And that is that means that you can build a huge single family home and pay less permit fees than you would if you were building a say 3 unit but much smaller home. So one way to address that would be to kind of change the permit fee structure to make it square foot based or to make it bedroom based rather than differentiating between single family home and multifamily per unit. So that's one small way of adjusting. So there's ways of adjusting the permit fee. And this is all in the big scheme of things, it may not be a big deal, these fees, but you know, it was something that struck us as being the way it's written right now, or the way that we saw it being written. I don't know if we're dealing with the most recent version. It seemed it could be improved.
Yeah, to me, looking at the building permit fees, I do see what you're saying. It's like a single family home is $700. Multifamily is $450 per dwelling unit. So if you go to triplex that was smaller than a giant home.
Those are the permits, but.
Those are zoning permits where, yeah, our discussion was impact fees, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
On
think
the
that's-
agenda, the discussion is not impact fees.
Right, on the agenda, it's permit fees.
Right, that's true, but I was saying we were talking about impact fees.
Anyway, I think those permit fees are a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
The permit fees haven't, I've been here 10 years, they haven't been adjusted,
Right,
so,
so I do think impact fees are more impactful.
Oh, boy.
so that's just the concept that, you know, I talked with Paul on, and you can, you know, I know there has been some thought of creating, you know, or looking at affordable housing overlays. I talked with Chris, the planner, you know, on that, where that falls in the timing, you know, or agenda or schedule with regards to the planning commission is a question mark at this point, just because of what they have, I guess, in front of them.
Okay. One more clarifying question, almost the exact same clarifying question. Frederick, I think you were part of the committee when they proposed the 8 or 9 recommendations from the Affordable Housing Committee to the Jericho Selectboard. And that's the reason we're talking about this tonight. Was that recommendation based off of building permit fees or impact fees or both?
Permit fees, largely permit fees.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because permit fees are pretty minor.
Everybody else up? You got me for a few more minutes.
Yeah, what else we got? Yeah, pump
If you wanna
permit.
ask Chris, ask him now.
You mentioned that overlay several times,
Yep.
at least to me. And I always just go, it's a good idea.
Mhm,
And then I,
mhm.
like, what do we need to do to get that overlay concept more, like, does the planning commission not like it? Do they, like, how do we take that and throw it into the list of things that we're considering to try to get affordable housing here?
I wouldn't say the planning, well, I can't really speak to the planning commission because I don't have much interaction with them.
Mhm.
So I don't think it would be fair for me to say one way or another. I do know that Chris, from the planning standpoint's got a fairly structured program or outline that he wants the planning commission to focus on. That way they don't go off on tangents or things along those lines. If, you know, if we look at,
True, we've asked them
Yeah.
to do all the rest of the ones on the list.
Right.
This one happens to be the only one up in our quarter, but yeah.
Right. And we've been kicking around the concept. We have overlays within the town right now, whether it's the natural resource overlay,
Okay, yeah.
the, flood zone, wetlands, all different types of overlays, wellhead overlay. So from an overlay standpoint, it wouldn't be hard to structure and get it in place because it would fall in the same area. But doing it, you want to do it in such a way that basically you need to identify what are the end uses that you want, right? We can say affordable housing. We could ask 10 different people what affordable housing is. We probably end up with 11 different answers. So you need to identify that, or, the tag of missing middle, what that is, I don't know. Missing middle used to be workforce housing. So, so getting those things identified, sort of saying, here's what we want here's what we would like to have built in the town is these types of units, whether they're fourplexes or detached condos or whatever it may be, this size and in this price range. Then you basically need to start doing a matrix with regards to what are the incentives that need to be in place to get you across the finish line. So, and I think, Chris and I have chatted briefly on the overlay, where it is in the whole queue of things for the planning commission. I'm not 100% sure. Chris would have a much better idea if that's 6 months, 6 years. I don't know. No.
Thank you. So for this agenda item, I mean, those permit fees, which is what Dick's suggestion was from them, I understand that impact fees are, we'll see again. We could.
So I don't know what you mean by impact fees. If you look at the impact fee schedule, I see one impact fee on there. That's a road impact fee. Is that what you're talking about? There used to be a fire impact fee. And
Yeah, road impact fee.
And the road impact fee is structured in the same way, which is that it's a single family versus multifamily housing. And that kind of follows the same, I follow the same thoughts on that as on the permit fees. So that that could be restructured to not be by unit and instead be by square feet, for example. So, and it's not that much more when I look at it, as compared with I mean, there's a bunch of fees on the fee schedule.
If you add up all the different permits, they get in the ballpark of the impact fee.
Yeah. Anyway, and it's got the same issue with the multifamily versus single family. So I think it's relevant. But anyway, yes, you're right. It would be a relatively small deal compared with something like the idea of the overlay district. And one more thing, you talk about missing middle versus affordable. And you're right, that definition has, I think from what I've learned, has changed a little bit. Missing middle used to be a particular architectural style. But the way we're, using it now is affordable is like 80% of median income and below, and missing middle is 80 to 120%. So that's how it's defined now.
Thank you for that.
I feel like they need to be raised. I don't know that we're prepared to like. Well, the reason they should be raised is buildings are selling for twice what they were selling. When you say 7 years ago?
10 years.
10 years ago? So more than twice what they were selling for 10 years ago, and they're paying permit fee.
Well, from the zoning office standpoint, we are extremely slow. We really do not have anywhere in the types of applications that we've seen in the past with regard, and it's all been residential. And we haven't seen applications coming through. And I think it's more based on the economy. I think it's based on the interest. It's on the economy. I think it's got a little bit of fear with regards to the government.
Future of our country.
And there's added expenses. And, And so we're going through our inventory, which we have a few lots left. And if I'm seeing projects going in front of the DRB, it's for maybe 1 or 2 residential lots. It's not multiple lots.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
The people
We're,
that are with
we're
it.
probably looking at another tough budget session. We haven't looked at the big number, but like every other cost of ours is doubled. So why are we not at least?
Yeah.
Changing the fees, and if we do change the fees, that's up residential, single family more than the rest.
Or maybe don't, or
But like, just
increase them. Because what you're saying, but then in that process, structure them in a way that tips the hand toward the.
Right.
So does
like-
it make
like again-
sense to look into other towns and what their permit
Copy, another copy.
structure
Hello.
is? Right, or their fee structure is?
Yeah, I mean, or you just do something across the board and say, we're gonna take residential permit fees and we're gonna increase them by 30%.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, do you really
Right.
care what Westford charges? And
Right,
you need, if
right,
you want to increase your fees, why do you need to look at other towns to rationalize raising your fees?
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
The only thing that made me want to raise them is when you said they've been with Dave for 10 years. Sorry, Jim's had his hand up a while. Go ahead, Jim.
I have a background that you may not know about in accounting.
Oh my God. What?
Really?
You come up with a new career every meeting.
Well,
Sorry,
what
keep
I
going.
would like to say is that Chris's idea is really, really beneficial and important. The
Wait a minute,
methodology.
did I hear that right?
The record reflected at 7:41, it's Jim Carroll, Dave Chris, what a compliment. Donna, in the minute, please.
I like that,
The
Donna.
means and methodology, because you heard about fairness and unfairness tonight.
Uh-huh.
And the bottom line is Jericho is screwed because it doesn't have seats, asses in seats in the schools. So you're not getting the, let's call it, the funds that otherwise would be here. So if we do not build an algorithm that says we want more children in this community, and that's going to involve people other than those that are owning 20,000 square foot houses, I have to speak for tall people, even though he's not here, okay?
It was 63,000 square feet he wanted.
Yeah, so that there is an algorithm by which you can encourage people to do what it is that you want. And I've watched for years as the planning commission, the affordable housing committee, the zoning administrator. And I don't see the top-down executive direction of the integration of infrastructure with economic development, with allocation of funds and resources. So if you want to see a development occur that hits a particular point, which is, let's say, workforce housing, because affordable housing, as written in our regulations, is not attainable from the private sector. It's impossible. CHT, its latest output is $585,000 a unit. Okay, so that's not going to be affordable unless you get a grant, don't have to pay your interest, and you're attracting deductible. So if we want to do something different in Jericho, team off of this subject, I can assure you it can in fact be done creatively as long as you say, this is what the problem is. We do not have enough infrastructure and housing being built in Jericho, which goes to the zoning maps and not allocating resources. But Jericho as a town could actually facilitate development because it owns assets like roadways so that you can take septic from a high density development here, run it down the town road and put it where the resource is available. But you need to have people that know how to get this done, doing it.
I'd like to know what we should do with this particular permit item, and I want to take it seriously because it was one of the only one that was in our power, typically on the permit fees. Here's what I propose. Could 2 select board members or 1 select board member and Paula go through based on this, make some changes to the fees. If nothing else, bring them up to today's inflation adjusted from whenever they were last set. And with the sort of the spirit of the request from the Affordable Housing Committee, and what was a new batch that we could, is that, what do you guys think about that? terrible idea, Tom.
I'm okay with that, and I would be happy to, if you wanna sit down tomorrow morning, I feel like we can do a pretty quick and easy. The map across.
Is that the board okay with them
Sure.
doing that together, and then they can come back, and then we have a proposal, and we can look at it, we have a chance to run it by Chris and see what he thinks, and.
I also like the overlay district idea.
That's what I wanted to get.
Well, yeah, that I wanna get, like.
Yeah, I've got a note
I
on
wanted to
that.
do that piece because that was our specific task for tonight,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
I really like that overlay thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know how to move,
You've
how to
been
do it.
saying that for a long
At least
time.
4 years.
You said something, I wanna make sure it's clear. Do we only have permit fee, or can we also do the impact fee? Are you using that as one?
You can do both.
All
All fees,
yeah,
that's what I wanted to
yeah,
double check
absolutely.
that, what we have the authority over.
And again, Colchester, Williston, Shelburne, Burlington all have impact fees based on affordable housing.
They do.
Yeah.
I think that,
Well, you gotta look at Burlington, they've got, and most of these they have specific regulations for affordable housing. And you need to, in Burlington, you need to have so much affordable housing included in your unit, in your development. And if you increase it, you get additional density, things along those lines.
Yeah.
If you don't wanna do any of it, you write a big, huge check, cause you don't wanna do it, and that money goes elsewhere. So it's, there's a lot of different creative ways to, get what you want. Whether
Yeah,
it's-
and in Burlington, it says like 25% if you're building houses targeted at 90% of average median income. 50% for, there's different levels of discount based on what kind of housing.
Okay. Good
Thank
night.
you, Chris.
Thank you,
Always-
Chris.
Always an education.
Well, see you
Thanks,
tomorrow. Yeah. Take care.
Next on the agenda is discussion of TMRI Kickoff Roundtable Talks, and I hope other people have stuff on this, because I don't have.
I put them in the themed categories
Yes, you-
that.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, so, yeah, so I don't know how or what you wanna, what you want coming out of this.
I thought we said once they were themed, we wanted to put them up on the website. I thought that was next step. Am I-
I thought, my memory is that we wanted Paula to put them in themes like you did,
Yep.
and then talk about what to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yep. I mean, number 4, that's where this, what we're gonna look into for the,
The emergency.
yeah, the emergency fund.
Yeah, I mean, it was mentioned different, and actually, land facilities and infrastructure, you have support private neighborhood infrastructure, insurance, resources, support, et cetera. And you also had established short-term emergency system or create emergency fund for residents. I mean, so there's 3 different ways that they said that. So,
Yep.
so that's really something that really should be, been followed up on that. I mean, I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, just looking into that and finding out, what it would take and I think it is gonna be, just looking at maybe like what, Bradford or Northfield, how they came up with it and what the stipulations or what the
With their structure,
criteria
they had, like,
is.
applications on the
Yeah,
website.
yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yep. Other than that, I don't know what else you guys want to talk about.
I mean, cause for your UPWP, we talked about the, an updated master Bike-Ped plan.
They're working on that. Yep,
Yeah.
I've got Chris.
The same way that, so that's one of the things that,
Yep.
there was multiple things talked about,
Yep.
walkable community. I mean, so you really.
Maybe then, I like kind of where this is going, because we have it through the theme description and the key goals. Maybe then you have another section that's like, hey, here's what we're doing as the
Right.
town of Jericho.
Working
Yeah,
on
like
it.
here's what's in action, and like
Yeah.
maybe how you can get involved.
Because,
Because these are the impassioned people that actually want to come to town meeting day reimagined and like get involved. So I think that would be last step, and then I would love to get this publicized, like, hey, we heard you in
Mhm.
September.
Are there things on here though that we need to consider for the,
well, that's
For
what
the budget,
I'm wondering,
like,
is like, what about like I'm not sure what the discussion was, the move to all mail-in ballots? What was the topic on that, or what was the?
I think it was a specific table, because our table didn't talk about that.
Okay, okay.
That's
Why
what
they
I think
just
we
done that.
can do that.
They didn't talk about the
I don't think
They
that's.
didn't talk that, yeah, see, some of these only came from very specific tables and wasn't even in the general discussion.
Okay, okay.
There were certain things that,
Notes get brought forward.
That's true.
Okay.
Fair valid.
Okay, I think, the promote, just to kind of just give an overview, the promote running for town office, I think. Sabina is working on the new website, which has got an elections page, which talks about that, which has the nominating petition and all of that, so that shows that,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of, I don't know what else.
of course, I mean, you know, that's something that we're gonna talk about in the future as its own item, but obviously, not only in the general discussion, but in multiple tables, it was about the library.
Right, right,
50K per year.
yeah,
That said it needs to be a valid item.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was the only thing that popped out to me as like, that is something we could do as this budget, but
It really needs to be a valid
it
item.
does, it really does.
It really should be a valid item. I mean, you know, so you've got all the walk transportation stuff. Noise levels of Route 15 is not something we can address.
no,
I mean, it's, you know, it is a
Right.
problem, but it's not.
yeah,
But that is interesting, the map list of traffic and pedestrian improvements. I mean, it just goes to what you're talking about is what we're doing. I mean, all the sidewalks that are being built or have, it was built in this past year and in the next 2 years. So I mean,
Yeah.
it really is, I mean, as far as the recreation, I mean, they have a charter, it's sitting idle. People wanted to go out there creative. They can say, hey, I'm gonna step up and become chair and I'll, you know, let's ask for more people. But if they have a charter to do it,
right, right.
it's there.
Yep.
I wonder if we should just broadcast that every now and then, because people keep bringing that up, and then we're like, yeah, okay, start one. You know, and
They have a charter, it's
like,
if
I think people would like there to be a recreation committee more so than they would like non-recreation.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
that's what.
That's true. I think
That's
they would-
exactly what
I think
happened.
that's true.
The
And I think that they would like to be on a recreation committee more than they would like to create a
Yeah.
recreation committee.
So they would have to create.
But we've had people in here,
Well,
like, you should have one.
Right, I wonder if,
Join it.
I wonder if we were to talk to the food hub people.
Which ones?
I do, but
No,
with several of them.
I don't know, Tom's smiling. Oh, Tom's
But,
Don't be starting a
but what do you,
but I just feel like, I feel like the,
but they're not into recreation, they're into the farming.
yeah, but they're the ones putting on, serving blueberries to 250 people at Chamberlain's and
Yeah,
making pizza with a whole bunch of random people at
Right.
JES every Tuesday. Like, that's the most
True.
community-minded stuff going on in this town. As
but
far as like, I mean, there's a lot like farmers market, I mean, there's good stuff happening, but in terms of like anybody who's doing anything to get us out of our houses in a new way. It's
that's good. I mean.
It is on foods that bring
But
people.
that's a good
Yeah.
thing to put
Yeah.
the community
Yeah, that's a
building.
good idea.
You know, because it's a community building thing, that's the thing to put the food hub, but create a recreation committee, but it's talking about a committee exists. And recreation committee could exist, they just need somebody to
No,
show
I
up.
know, but I don't wanna say like, oh, we like, put up doing that. What I'm hearing is people want more of that, and I think that we should think about how can we create more of that, and my thought is to meet with the food hub people and say, hey, and I'm happy to be a point person on that, have a conversation, say, hey, this seems like a really powerful thing you guys have been doing. The select board has feedback about people wanting more of this kind of thing. Can we talk about you guys sustaining this in some way? Can the select board somehow support you sustaining it either more often or through the year or?
We give them money.
No, I know, but
Yeah,
I don't want
give them money
to.
already.
You want to tell.
Looking to answer right now.
Right.
You're looking to like.
When I want to. I'm not saying I'm not doing anything. I'm saying, yes, we're doing lots of stuff. But I want to be doing more because people are saying they want more.
I will tell you that the food
Can you
farm.
tell me one more thing we're already doing? Going to-
I will tell you. That there are more people have joined, actual, community dinner part of it, whether it's breakfast or brunch or dinner, and it's,
Of what?
of the food hub.
Right.
The more people have joined that, it's very active, very energetic.
Right,
And so, but they feel that twice a year is what the farmers can, you know,
right, but if we work with them to lean into, I think, I haven't memorized their things, but if their thing is both to be supporting local farming and local food and building community, we can say, okay, so in February, there isn't a whole lot we can do for farming, but can we lean into that community building part and have locally sourced,
that's
whatever.
why they did a soup here
Yeah.
last January. But see, to me, you've got the creative recreation, which, and then the and, but lots of people talked recreation, you know, that they wanted the rec center, they wanted a pool, they wanted this, they wanted more activities for adults to do, not just the, you know. So to me, that's the part, you know, community building, one thing with the food hub, but people are also talking recreation.
Right, like pickleball.
Yeah, or, well, there's a few, you know, other things that.
Pickleball, always pickleball now.
Is it really?
We're not doing.
All pickleball all the time, all.
Setting my foot down.
I still not even played it.
It's awful.
No, work, that's why just say, you know, if it's all pickleball, why not ask for, when we had the ARPA funding, why they wanted to
That
go.
was too early, pickleball's now, it's just Marco was pre-pickleball, now it's pickleball.
Yeah, because they gotta disc golf.
Right, exactly.
Because there's disc golf out there.
Guarantee you, we got our money out, you need pickleball.
But, yeah, I mean, we could encourage, because you're right, people come up and say, why don't we have it, you know, recreation committee for adults? I mean, all they need to do is look at the charter and start the committee up again, but it really fell apart because it was hard to get everybody together and it just, they fainted.
So it sounds like when people ask this, we need to find a quick way to say, we would love to have one. There is an interest. Here's, maybe we like outline some steps on the website or something like.
Yeah.
And then the other idea from Peter is to, what I'm probably putting words into his mouth, is to merge the two, the empty, non-existent committee with a charter into Tom's committee. So Tom, we'd like to.
If you're now in charge of pickleball for the whole PM. Thanks for showing up, have a good night.
Tommy's already had several committees.
No, I don't think we should, I don't think we should merge those.
No, I was
putting words in your mouth.
But what you're saying is a lot of that, like the only activity that comes close to what a rec committee is trying to do is happening through that.
Right.
There's villages, or just.
When you think about recreation, you have 125 acres of land with a large barn in the middle of Jericho.
Oh, they're talking about me.
And it was offered to the town in October of 2016 for nothing. And here it is, 2025.
I have a question before you go further. Do you go to the fire department with the same conversation or not? Because
It's
I would love it if they got the pressure.
Well, the problem is not with fire department.
Oh, yes,
It's okay, all right, I'm neutral. Henry Kissinger flying shuttle diplomacy between the camps.
Are you sure? Are you? You watched that documentary about Kissinger?
I know, man.
Bring it back, bring it back.
Oh.
But frankly, that this is an economic opportunity, a recreational opportunity, support of the academic activities, and we have a property that could tomorrow be part of an assimilation. In 2 hours, I could do a contract on that and have it signed. But you have to have willing leadership that doesn't have any biases of whatever's happened in the past. Let's turn the page today and say a quasi-governmental agency, the Underhill Jericho Fire Department, that is not a nonprofit per se, received this from Mary Alice Rivers as a donation because she didn't trust the town. If you remember, my cows were on her.
Okay, hold on, I'm gonna interrupt, okay, you rarely do. I don't wanna I know the whole story, I think everyone does. What is your, like, in one sentence, what do you think we should be doing?
I personally did and submitted to this board a recreational plan to develop sliding hills and all of those facilities, including walking trails. And there's existing structures there that could be implemented relatively quickly because the land is there laying fallow for 25 years. And the only.
Wait, that was impressive. That was one sentence. That was one sentence.
That's fine.
Well articulated sentence, but again, you're not asking us to do anything. You're saying, wouldn't it be great? And I have a plan to make recreation happen on that piece of land. What are you asking us to do?
You need a committee that makes a deal, writes a contract. That's what has to happen. I suggest that it not be done to the town, but into the Economic Development Corporation.
Okay, anything more on the TMRI topics? Would you like to move on to budget?
Yes.
Is that the next thing?
Can you share the budget piece that I gave you on the screen?
Okay.
Please.
Question too, is there a timeline for the website?
Dang, I'm not a host.
Well, those scandals.
There is, we were supposed to go live last week, but they're having an issue with the end. It's called the end or exit DNS.
Yeah, the exit DNS is having .NET errors maybe? Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
so we're working on it and hopefully within the next week, we will go live. So I met with Sabina this morning. Everything looks great. She's been working on that. Looks wonderful, so.
For some reason, it's not letting me share, even though I am a host. Oh, it's.
Oh, no, how do I, oh, yeah, here we go. How come, weren't you,
I was in first. I don't know how you.
Okay.
How it.
okay, go ahead.
You like it the right way or?
Well, I mean, yeah, that'd be great. There you go. Yeah. So this is what you're looking at, the planning and zoning budget. And at the top, you're gonna see the salaries, which that has increased along with the benefits. Benefits a little bit more because Chris added his significant other to insurance, so that's a little bit higher. The legal expense, talk to Chris Flynn because the legal expense is pretty much Chris Flynn, the zoning administrator, and that's court issue cases and legal issues with the town attorney. So he raised that $2,000. Other than that, everything else is the same. And that's both, speaking with both Chris's. The thing that you will not see in this budget, because I have to work with Brian because he has a different area for grants in the
That's
budget, like he spelled like last year. So Chris Shaheen is going to be, you will be getting a wastewater task force budget. We're also gonna be including in that grant piece, the UPW piece, UPWP grant, and then the MPG grant. So those two pieces from Chris Shaheen plus the wastewater, you won't see that until that grant piece in the budget. And I'm gonna be working with Brian on that. But this is the general operating budget, so. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, nothing really has changed.
Why is, I know it's that, what is, how do, what should the increases, what's the percentage of salary increase?
3.5.
Why is it 7.2?
You're gonna see that change because of the fact that Chris's salary changed mid-year. So we had to you have to plug it into the.
Remember, he wasn't hired before.
And it changed from last.
He hasn't been here a year. I mean, this is first new cycle.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
And then down below is the Conservation Mobs and Trails Committee, and Tom's here if you want him to speak on the Conservation Commission. And
Question?
I was gonna say, I think people might wanna know, I mean, even though the number is small, the
Right.
percentage goes.
Percentage.
Yeah. So people
Yeah.
might wanna know why.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He had a brief description, which I believe you guys might have.
No.
Yeah,
I didn't come in. Okay, so you wanna talk about
Come
why
on
the
up.
increase in the conservation committee budget?
So you're wondering why I need $4,900?
I mean, like I said, the
I
number
can
is.
build a pickleball court.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, compared to the rest of the budget, it's not big, but when people see 63%, they go, oh.
And I'm taking this theme from what I remember Susan Brzee saying at last year's TMRI Kickoff, dream big. So so breaks down into 5 separate items. We used to have a separate item called special projects when I first took over the helm. And for a few years, we didn't have anything special going on. And now we've sort of ballooned our interest. We have 2 engineers, we have 2 water quality river specialists and 2 biologists on the committee. So
We have an incredible committee. The expertise there is always pretty amazing.
yeah, they never cease to amaze me at meetings, coming up with their expertise on various things, whether it's GIS or interpreting maps or just general creative ideas. So we are still hoping to add a 7th member to our group, and $700 is for affording each of us to attend a workshop or a training session of some sort. Then we have a grant match that I termed the Ghost Dam Removal Project. And we have $1,000 in the current budget for that, but based on what Karina has submitted from the interactions with the engineering firm, we might not spend that this year. So I wanted to make sure that if it doesn't start until July 1st of 2026, that we at least have that 1,000 in there. And this isn't the only dam that's in the pipeline as far as removal. So that's why it's not like they've forgotten Jericho. They're just, it's taking time for this company to deal with the other projects. So next, and this may or may not dovetail with what's happening with the planning commission, but we've earmarked $500 for some sort of public outreach effort where we might have a guest speaker or 2 come and explain to the community what forest blocks are and the ramifications of the new Act 171, and how, in light of the town's efforts to increase housing across town, how can we do that and balance the need for connectivity among the various forest blocks? So I know the planning commission is working on that right now. And hopefully the future land use map reflects some of the concerns that we have regarding how to maintain the balance between wildlife habitat and resilient landscapes and working forests, and still accommodate housing growth. Next, we have a management plan that the board adopted for the town forest, which is that hybrid parcel that includes
12 acres in the Griswold Snowflake Drive area, as well as the bigger parcel, which people access from the Starbird Drive. We have a management plan, but we haven't done anything to manage the property. So we're earmarking $1,000 to at least begin addressing the invasive plant issues there, and perhaps do something to make it a little more user-friendly. Because right now, the smaller parcel is really a big backyard for the people who live on those 3 streets. There's very limited access to the parcel. The town right away on Route 15 is overgrown and fenced with a locked gate. And right now, the only way to access that land is if you're not butting it, you actually go between 2 houses at the corner of, it's not Griswold, but it's the road off of Griswold.
Ross Lane.
Ross Lane, yeah. So we'd like to at least work with the, I'm sorry, I can't remember the Trails Committee's new name. Well, we'd like to.
Cody.
We'd
Cody.
like to work with Cody and his colleagues on getting that area more accessible and more used by people. So there's going to be some public outreach there that involves the 2 neighbors who right now, since nobody goes through there, at some point, if we start doing management activities, we're going to have more of a presence in what's right now kind of a private path.
Where's the path?
So if you go in,
Is it the dead
it's
end
not
of
Ross Lane.
Yeah.
It's not Ross Lane. It's Snowflake Drive, isn't it?
No,
There is one at the end of Ross too.
Snowflake Drive.
That's where all that steel was, where we had to
Right.
remove.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
Snowflake Drive leads to a property that looks kind of like this.
I'm sorry.
So here's Snowflake Drive, that leads to this property, and then Ross Lane
Yeah,
leads to this.
so
property.
this is the right of way. It's just a
Okay.
path.
Okay. Which the neighbors probably feel is theirs.
Sure.
So this is the Griswold.
And then, so that management activity, $1,000. And then the last item was $500 for maintenance and improvements at the Jericho Center Green and also the tree nursery at the town garage. So it comes out to 4,900 total.
What's the locked gate? Is that ours? Is that the town's locked gate?
Many years ago, that parcel was serviced by Green Mountain Power, and there used to be a pump station and an underground reservoir, and the access was locked, and the water district deeded the town that whole parcel for $1 back in the mid-90s. And I don't ever recall a key being handed over.
Unlocked
Yeah.
gate, okay.
And which part are you talking about? The same one we were looking at?
The 12 acre, the small one, the small
The one
polygon.
that's off Route 15,
Yes,
not the one that's up by Starford.
no, that one's totally accessible and it gets a lot of traffic.
That's something that the town can like.
I got
cut.
I got
Right,
an angle grinder.
Yeah.
right,
Have it off.
right, is that,
I got hole cutters.
yeah,
I don't know the person who lives,
What was it for sure?
I don't know the person.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
We got more explanation on that $1,900 and we're gonna have
Right.
any other amount of per dollar per explanation is gonna be high.
We own that property.
So Pete Davis is on and he can probably tell you a little bit about the mobs if you want, Pete.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you a little bit about the mobs. How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
So the $1,000 increase in our budget is simply to pay for an incredible idea that we came up with, which is an all expenses paid gala for the Mobs Farm committee members to host a Gatsby themed party around Christmas. And we thought $1,000 would cover it. So we hope you'll pass that.
Also.
Will that be in Florida?
Of course.
Yeah. $1,000 a seat or?
In all seriousness, though, not to disparage the Food Hub Committee, they do a great job, but I would argue that one of the most incredible recreational opportunities you have in Jericho is Mobs Farm. And I'm saying from living next to it, I get the unique opportunity to see the traffic. And just the other day, 25 elder women from Essex were out there trudging around having a grand old time. There was a wedding the other week from a couple from Enfield, Connecticut, who just adore the property. Daily use is in I'd say you're at about 100 users on a nice day easily. And both parking lots get filled up. And it's an incredible recreational facility. So I'm psyched that $1,000 is going to go to pave it. And we're going to put in pickleball courts. So it'll be awesome. No, in all seriousness, though, we're facing very tight budget with what we're doing. Just as an example, $2,000 goes to our partners at Fellowship of the Wheel. $5,000 goes to All Phase, who've done a fabulous job this year, not only mowing the trails, but doing the final brush hog, which just took place after the pollinators left. We have some significant expenses around some anticipated construction around bridges. And if we don't have to do that construction, we do have an understanding after many years of pounding our heads against the wall that it is indeed a use it or lose it budget. So if we don't go through and spend $15,000 by the end of the fiscal year, it just goes back into the till. But we're anticipating costs associated with maintenance and repair, continuing our relationship with Lackey Land Works, doing some improvements to the trails for safety reasons. There are expenses around the winter grooming that we do using our Snow Dog machine that's housed in the old Comcast building that Tom referred to, and materials that it takes to do all this stuff. We recently completed our fall trail day, and we salvaged a bunch of material that had been left over after a couple different construction projects. So we are a frugal group, and hats off to Sabina, who secured some free plantings through grants to enhance the offerings in our new orchard. And so we are rubbing nickels to make dimes, and we do the best we can to be as frugal as possible. But with all due respect, we'd love to see an extra 1,000 in the till due to tariffs, because we're really being hit hard by the tariffs.
Thank you, Pete.
Are you the Pete Davis of WRUJ fame?
Guilty.
Well, I feel like I'm meeting a rock star. I'm Peter Booth. I email you every show.
Well, I'll be on the air tomorrow, and we'll be focused on the Cochrane ski sill because we're pretty hyper local.
Yeah, I love it. Your show's incredible. Seriously. So
Well, I appreciate you listening in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the pickup. He does a great job at the pet parade.
Great job on the radio station.
And just, I'm not bragging. Okay, I am bragging. I'll be the finish line announcer at the Olympics this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And as it turns out, it's for the women's alpine. So that's why I want to know what Frederique is knitting there. I think she's in the Olympics and she's going to be wearing that sweater.
Like the real Olympics, you're gonna be
There it is. Oh, Bernie mittens. Nice.
Thanks, Pete.
Oh, that's terrific.
We humbly ask for an additional 1,000 to our budget to make things work at Mobs.
Brilliant.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for listening to WRUJ. And by the way, just to let everybody on the select board know, that stands for Richmond, Underhill, Jericho. So it's hyper local. So listen in. We'll be on the FM airwaves soon, but right now we're just online at wruj.org. And we'll be on the air at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I apologize I wasn't there in person, but I'm dealing with a lovely sick puppy, new addition to the family right here. She's the new mom.
Oh, well, we can't see. Where? Hold on.
She's posing.
Oh.
So that's the new Mobs mascot. That's Miss Phoebe. And if you're ever out at Mobs, you'll probably see her wandering around.
I love it.
Oh, that's true.
Oh.
She's the best looking one in the family, but she's under the weather with a little bit of illness, so I wasn't able to be there tonight.
She's saying.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
And the last one just on this was the Jericho Bike-Ped committee, and their budget stayed the same. Just wanted to point that out.
Approved last 2 liquor licenses from Stewarts.
Yes, that was, Jessica had emailed you 2 weeks ago, I think, on this. So, yeah.
No one else, is a Southern Vermonter would be upset that this wasn't a proper Stewart's shop popping up, just me, just.
I'm so frustrated. I'm like looking for the ice cream, I'm looking for the fancy sodas,
I know,
nothing.
No, and there's no ice cream. I'll give them their liquor license, but I need.
And I'm not gonna get them with a logo on it yet. This year, please.
I need-
better figure out.
Gallons.
It better be healthy, Stewart soda that mixed with that stuff, you know.
That's right, absolutely, because they have great food.
They make their own tonic.
It's so good. Yeah. They have this. Alright, I don't know.
In this shop since.
Yeah, but I don't think they've done anything different. Inside what I'm saying is they need to,
Yes, they do.
because they had coffee milk thing. Guys, we need more Stewart stuff, but
Yeah.
I'll do a motion to
Spite of
get
that.
their liquor license, their class 2 liquor license.
I will second that.
Well, not only that, it's also tobacco substitute, tobacco license, and everything.
Class 2 liquor license renewal, tobacco substitute, and tobacco license.
Okay.
Let me read it all over again. There you go. Okay. I propose a motion to give Stewart's a class 2 liquor license renewal, tobacco substitute, and tobacco license.
I will second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is select board updates, and I'm actually gonna go first. I know we typically don't look for decisions to be made about things that are not on the agenda, but I wanna tell you my little story first and then maybe propose something. So the wastewater task force, biggest thing we have going on right now. I think one of the, I don't want to call it a risk, but one of the challenges that we have is, I think Underhill is getting very nervous about the project. And I think a lot of that nervousness, this is my thoughts based on reading some notes that I saw, a conversation that happened, based on a conversation that I had, with someone from the Underhill Select Board, and just based on some feelings that I've heard, it seems like they're nervous about what's going on right on their doorstep, right? And I think a lot of that nervousness comes from maybe some misunderstandings, maybe some assumptions, maybe some lack of clear communication, right? They're not here at these meetings when we talk about it. They have I think their select board meetings are the same nights, or generally the same nights. And I think that's a pretty big challenge when we're looking to do something this big right there. So anyway, I've heard about a lot of concerns, and in a conversation that I had, that I was having with Bob, we were just kind of talking back and forth about some stuff. And here's what I like to propose. I think the best way around, or the best way through this communication problem, through this misunderstanding, would be to ask Underhill to have somebody join our wastewater task force. And so
have a person, like a select board member or a planner or a.
whoever, what I proposed to Bob, that I would that I
Bob
would
Stone.
propose, Bob Stone, Chair of the Underhill Select Board, that I would propose to this group here would be to say, please pick somebody that you think will be good at representing your concerns, bringing our information back, making sure there's not a misunderstanding, and so not have us pick, but have the select board pick. Maybe it would be a select board member, a planning commission,
But someone to be like a direct conduit from our task force, knowing what our conversations are, what we're thinking about, what we're saying.
yep, and so and again, that idea came to me kind of during that conversation, and typically good ideas take a little while for me, so I was like, I'll think about this one. I still think it's probably the best way, and it's a task force, and I can't think of a better way to be part of it, and even if like, I hope not, but even if they're like absolutely opposed, all right, come in, tell us why, talk to us about why this is, why I don't think they're gonna be that opposed, but like, you know what I mean, but like.
What are your concerns? So we can have that
Let's
part of the
talk.
conversation proactively.
So I don't think I think about that.
I like that. Is there anything weird about having someone from Underhill on a task force, like having someone out of town on a task force on a committee?
No, because the
I
Jericho.
think we split things anyways, right, with a few things. Jericho Underhill, fire
Fire
department,
department, library, park.
yeah,
Well, even
There is
Reed's
some
Food
things.
became Jericho Underhill Food
right?
after they
So I
started staff.
think
Is
there's,
task force like a governmental entity though?
No,
It's a little,
No.
So I guess, yeah, it's like.
you're a task
Yeah.
force.
I think it's a great idea to kind of get cut through.
it's not an official
and to
committee,
make it.
we'll follow the rules anyway in terms of.
Okay, in that case,
Good idea.
I would like to make a motion to officially ask Underhill to provide a person who would be interested in serving on the the Jericho wastewater task.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Let's think of it.
So I went to the CCRPC select board meetup thing. Very interesting, but boy, you go to those things and turns out we're not the biggest town in Chittenden County. Yeah, yeah. Never has that felt more real than being like listening to some of the challenges that
Like South Burlington.
like South Burlington and Burlington and Winooski, and they're like, I mean, it was a little depressing, honestly, for like the first 40 minutes of like the things that are battling, right? They've got people there like, the people with lists of crimes that they don't have, like, there's not enough court space to get them through. And then even if there were, let's say the appropriate outcome is like a treatment bed, that there isn't, or maybe the appropriate outcome is, okay, well, then they need to be incarcerated. Well, there's no room there either. And so then we're gonna ship them to another part of the country and then isolate them from whatever. Like, there was just a lot of really like, okay, these are fairly heavy things. So, but we did end on a good note. We like decided to go and talk about good things and whatever. So it was pretty positive. They asked if it's something that we wanted to do again. And I think most people generally said yes. One thing that I learned, I don't know if it's public information or not, but he said it in front of a whole bunch of other select board chairs, so I'm going to say it. One thing that concerns me, and I need to talk with Underhill Jericho Fire Department, but a couple years ago, we changed to the Shelburne Dispatch. Okay. Shelburne expressed that they're losing their appetite for subsidizing all of the rest of Chittenden County's dispatch. So it sounds like they're spending a lot more dispatch than they're getting from the other town.
Are we paying them for this?
We pay them, but
Not enough.
it sounds like what they're paying right now is like $1 million. Like,
That's what dispatch is costing Shelburne, right? And they're not getting that from us.
I mean, it was, there was no official thing, but
Yeah.
I think it's something that we need to be aware of because that would be a pretty big hit to that.
It'd be the fire.
It'll be in their
department.
budget.
Well, within
It's
the
part of
line,
their
yeah,
budget.
yeah, I understand.
So it would impact their budget that they present to us. So I don't know if they know, I don't know how much they know about it. Anyway, that was good. Cool. Can we please fix the bump on Lee River Road? Like the big bump, like right by Lafayette, like
It's not that big.
They fixed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really.
It's like the thing people, I don't drive that way, but I get the most feedback on that.
That's weird.
By Wayne's house.
By Wayne's house.
It was, Jacob
Takes a long
fixed
time.
that.
Yeah, it's been very smooth. I mean,
It was drive on it.
Before, it was really a big bump,
Yes.
It's literally fixed.
but it's been.
Jacob, I
fixed.
Dug it up and fixed it.
I heard this last night.
No,
I guess I got
I
it.
drive all the time.
Oh, we have to
It used to go bumping.
Yeah, you also, speed up in Jericho, 7:35.
She knows.
All right, well, I retract that if it's already been fixed.
You
I
you go that way?
No.
Yeah.
Never.
It's not, I mean, it's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Alright.
think it
Jacob pulled it up when he first started here again as a road foreman, because it was a really bad bump.
yeah, the way it was patched, it was huge.
Yeah, it kind of went.
It gave a real-
up and
Deep.
All right, so
interesting.
you're telling me it's fixed
You know,
Someone's
yeah,
complaining today, you said it yesterday,
last night.
and
Really?
it wasn't like talking about how bad it used to be, but it was like, the bump is horrible now, like it was.
Yeah, when are they gonna fix it?
Oh.
Yeah, so now I'm very confused. So I should have driven over there. I just didn't have time.
Yeah, drive over, because it doesn't, I mean, you're right, I used to a whole bunch of other stuff, but.
Right. And then I was wondering if I could get some help from the staff too. I know we've been talking about it and I just haven't done it. Can we set up, can maybe Linda help set up a chair-to-chair meeting? And that's for you guys, that's literally just the chair of the select board meets with all the other chairs and.
do you want one meeting with all of them or?
One meeting with all
Right.
Yep.
And it's not a public meeting,
not a public meeting.
so there's no chair
We
to chair.
can, we can complain
Yeah.
about all of
You
you.
complain about everything or
Yeah.
anything, or find out what their
Yeah.
needs are, what their complaints are, kinds of issues.
All right, that's all I had for updates, and one of them apparently incorrect.
We just drove over it today to go to the town.
Well, at least I'm not the only one driving over, and, you know, and you drive mostly paved roads for a while.
So, I don't know, sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
Oh, I don't have any updates.
Two, one on November 15th from 10 to noon. There will be a reception for the artists who, as well as for the public to see the art and meet the artists. On the current themed thing called Earth's Bounty.
How long is this one up?
It will be up till the end of the year. But it was really hard this time of year because it get too close to Thanksgiving and then you're into the Christmas season. But right now, the 15th turns out to be the day hunting season starts. And of course, that's all the super sales on socks and things like that across for the widow sale. Things like that.
Oh, come on, no, this is a real thing.
Oh, I talked
The dogs-
about it, yeah, okay, I see, I know, okay.
They're great songs.
Makes sense.
So I mean, but 15th was when people could meet. So that's, you know,
Inside window.
we hope people don't, but.
Okay, great.
And unfortunately, the night we had the speaker on energy efficiency and affordability, it was a really crappy night. The attendance wasn't as good. And we did not think to have it videoed. MFCT wasn't able to video it, which is unfortunate because it was a really excellent presentation and with a lot of data about, you know, building a port that doing something super energy efficient is not going to cost you, be it not affordable. In fact, is the operating costs over the life of the building are so much more reduced. And he, you know, so that was great. And then, Efficiency Vermont was there with us. A lot of stash stuff, you know, merch, and people, you know, they talked about their rebates, and then the Vermont Gas also talked about their rebates and what they could do for audits and things like that. And in fact, turns out one woman came specifically for that and met with the representative for Vermont Gas to set up an audit. And have her house checked over for energy efficiency. So that was good, but that's where we are.
Peter. I just have a note to myself to ask, and I maybe asked this last meeting, I apologize. We were gonna talk about but we were gonna bring in Cody Phillips and talk about the speed bump situation. We're gonna blink and budget season's gonna turn into town meeting, and it's gonna be April, and we're gonna.
I've been telling people March for that.
Wait, Cody Phillips?
We're gonna talk.
We're gonna bring Cody
like,
Phillips in to
what
talk
if we
about
replace the speed?
What are we gonna
bump
do
with?
in?
Okay, Jericho Center, okay, oh, okay.
Speed bumps, what are we gonna put in
Okay.
there, and I
Sorry.
I was in Burlington a couple of weeks, like last week sometime, I still love the chicane setup they have on East Ave. But I just wanted to mostly just ping you, be like, hey, we're gonna talk about this, but you've got it in your head for March.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and when people ask, I've been saying March. That's
Okay.
kind of what I remember, the general timeframe I remember.
Alright,
Yeah,
alright.
there's also some really nice speed bumps that are effective but not as jarring
Yeah.
by the Boys and Girls Club in Burlington that are permanent.
Oh, yeah.
They're permanent
I know
ones
what you
too,
mean.
so you don't have the the cost of installing and de-installing.
Yeah.
Similar to the ones in Richmond, right?
I don't know if there were,
I don't know.
Somebody, what did, fine.
Not at all.
no, these are not, they were not quite like that, but these are,
They're more like cables, like,
Oh, gotcha, okay, gotcha, yeah.
Little rise, you're up on it for a minute, you're off.
Yeah,
But
Anyway,
they're-
my point was just to flash that across your radar, but it's already there. so.
yeah.
But I've got some people commented that, that drive in Burlington said these are very effective, but not as jarring, and if they're permanent, so you don't have to take them up and put them down every year. And there's some temporary ones that are out by the, nursing homes. And the new joint things as well. And those look like they're temporary.
Laura, do you have to? Oh,
I just have one, it's Linda is going to try to apply for a transportation alternative grant for the Lee River Road sidewalk project, because as time has gone on, it's gonna be more than what the original grant was. And so she'd like to apply for this grant and would like a letter of support from the select board to apply for it. And if we get it, then we pay a local match, but
can we do that if it's on the agenda, or do we have to warn it?
this is just a support letter. I don't know.
We typically do it in a meeting for support letters too.
Oh, you do?
But that way it's
Okay.
recorded and
Right.
a chance, like if somebody
I
takes
get,
the
I
idea.
get this because, but
Is there a
this is
second issue?
due Friday.
Oh, tomorrow?
Yes,
Oh.
that's why we're bringing it to you. There's,
I support it. I'm the only one with the signature, so.
Is it, is this a grant to help us do what we're planning to do, or is it a grant for the next piece of trying to get across?
no,
the-
this is to do what we're already doing. It's gonna cost.
Which is costing more than we.
Right, because we had to go back to the drawing table and do all of that.
Well, and costs are a lot different than they were in 2017.
Yeah. Thank you.
When the Lee River combination started.
Yeah, well, that's when you have to do it.
Is that all you got? Approve warrants, which I'm working on now, approve minutes.
I just have a thing on, 387, line 387. And I need to change the whole sentence because it's gives the wrong indication. I was talking about Chris West, and all his certifications, and he is a certified builder. And he's a certified passive home builder.
Okay, so what is it? What do you?
Yeah, it says Chris, that's 38687, it starts at 386, it says Chris West is a certified builder who's building a passive home in St. Albans. That's two different things that were put together in one sentence. He's a certified passive home builder, period. And WCX had a new segment on the construction of a passive home in St. Albans.
And so
Chris West is not associated with.
That's right.
Two different.
All right, so Quist West is a
Canadian company.
certified passive home builder, period.
Period.
And then what did you say the other part was?
Concurrently, WCX had a new segment on the construction of passive homes in Albans. And that's, and you don't have to say it, but it's being built by a company from Canada. He did mention it in his presentation on Thursday, though.
Okay.
I had a couple. Peter, did you have some?
Nope.
I had a bunch. Line 77, there's an extra T.
Oh, look at you.
We wouldn't T incur.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said because when, oh, look at that T just hanging up there.
Yeah, it's sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Line 115, we have to reconstruct a little bit. Now, I may have said it, but it can't stay the way it is. So
Okay.
it starts out, the PER does cover all 3 village centers, but it looks at the first phase. I hope I didn't say it covered.
You didn't say that.
I
I don't think you did.
I think what I meant to say, or what it needs to say is covers all the phases,
Ah,
but it looks at the first, but I don't know how.
All right, the PER
and that
does cover
sentence,
all the phases. But it,
maybe that's all, like,
yeah, but it looks at the first phase.
yeah.
Or I
more
think just,
closely, I don't know.
yeah,
First phase closed more closely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, there was a little back and forth on line 380. It was a little confusing.
380 is a blank line.
Yeah.
Stop. I said 330. I think I
heard that.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you heard. On 330, it says, it's confusing.
Yeah.
The board discussed possibly leaving it at 80 since it was increased to 85. It wasn't increased to 85. It was just increased to 80. So I think it's just that middle 85 needs to
That
stay
makes
80.
sense.
The 85 on line 330 needs to be 80.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Okay.
But then, like, we're gonna leave it at the 85 level anyway.
No, we were gonna leave.
We were gonna leave it at 80.
Makes sense, but.
So the next
Oh,
sentence is
so
gonna change
one should
too.
also have an 80.
Yep. Yep.
Voters agreed to keep it at 80.
Then
5 for now.
we can probably simplify that sentence then.
Well, we should,
No.
we should completely reconstruct it,
No,
but
I think probably the rest of it is correct.
I think it is correct because
Because Paula put it in for 85, or
Yeah.
Andy or whoever put it in for 85 versus the 80 you're putting in now. We talked about it leaving it at 80 since it was increased to 80 just a few months ago, but it was agreed to keep it at 85 for now.
Yeah,
That's what
Say,
I,
let's leave the extra, and if we need to take it out,
right.
I
we
wonder-
can take it out later, but I think it's.
that's how I remember it.
Okay, so 85 for now.
So it's just that 185
Okay.
needs to change to 80.
Yep.
That's all I had. Do I have a motion?
make a motion to approve the minutes of October 16th, 2025 with corrections as noted.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Do we need an executive session?
We can do executive session. Glad you asked, Eric. I would like to make a motion to go to executive session for the purpose of personnel, because premature disclosure for the information would be detrimental for the parties involved, and I'd like to invite Paula.
And we still would, if I were to do it, I would still so curious every time.
I have written down.
Yeah.
I changed it in my text.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night,
Good night, everybody.
everybody.